I mean, Jamie, I got a picture I got to show you. This is so incredible, Jamie. There's a gal before and after picture. We got this food addiction stuff. So I interviewed a gal. She was 800 pounds, right? It's like, how do you get to 800 pounds? It's like impossible. Like I don't think I could do it if I tried, right? I mean, food addict, couldn't stop eating chocolate and ice cream and all that stuff. And this is her.
Whoa.
She's almost 800 pounds, or 350 kilos, which is the most I've ever deadlifted. So that's kind of an interesting weight. But 22 months she goes on Carnivore, right? I interviewed her a while back, and she's now lost almost 500 pounds on Carnivore when nothing else would work for her. I mean, she told me it was like, I finally found the off switch. She tried Weight Watchers. She tried like gastric band surgery. She tried vegan diet. She tried juicing. She tried Weight Watch. She tried every single thing you could think of, but could never stop it. And finally, for the first time in her life, she's like, I finally found freedom from this food addiction. And, recent studies show that that other guy in the hat, this is a funny guy. This guy in the hat right there, his name is, what's his name? I'm blanking on it. Todd. He's a dude out in Montana, right? He was 770 pounds, right? Same sort of situation. Started drinking Cokes when he was 14 years old. I'm doing an interview and he goes, yeah, I didn't know who he was. And he starts telling me, he goes, yeah, when I was 14, I was 600 pounds. I'm like, what? 600 pounds at 14? It's like, how the hell can you get to 400 pounds? They're poor family, and his mom and sister and everybody in the family was, very obese, and they had tried gastric bypass and it didn't work for them. But same thing with this kid. I mean, he's just like, I call him a kid, he's 40. He went carnivore, and for the first time in his life, he's like, I don't need the sugar and I don't need the Coke. He was drinking like 20 Cokes a day or some ridiculous stuff. And he just blew up, and he could not stop and this is why, one of the reasons I think they know this. I mean, the food industry knows they're making addictive food. They clearly know that. In fact, I had a gal who worked for one of the major food manufacturing companies, and her job, she was a chemist, and her job was to design food to be as addictive as possible. And she literally told me that. She goes, I can no longer live with the guilt. I want to come work for you guys. And, she was just so just beside herself. She says she realizes what she's created with this epidemic of disease and suffering. I mean, because these people are suffering. Did you see that movie, The Whale? Did you ever see that movie?
I did not.
It's good. It's an interesting movie. So it's Brendan Fraser, and he's like 700-pound dude. And it shows he just lives in his He lives in his recliner. He can't barely get up. He can barely go to the bathroom. Refrigerator next to him, and his whole life is in. And this guy did the same thing. He said he fasted one time for 40 days trying to lose weight, and he never left his chair. He just sat there for 40 days and didn't eat.
Wow.
Can you imagine? That's like hell. That's like hell on earth. But now he's going back to work. He's getting out in the field, and he's working, doing like electrical work or something like that. But I mean, it's just the sugar in one way. I know there's people out there saying, listen, not sugar's fine, it's all seed oils and stuff like that. But I think clearly there are people that are addicted to either sugar or sugary foods. It's like, because would you eat chocolate if there's no sugar in it? I mean, it's like, that 100% dark is kind of like, have you tried that? It's
kind of gross.
It is. It's like the only reason you eat that stuff because the sugar's in there. So people say, well, no one's mainlining bags of sugar. But I mean, I know people that have actually done that. I mean, it's kind of crazy. You see these people that are so addicted to this stuff. But
they mainline.
Well,
sugar?
They just eat it out of the bag. Okay. It's kind of like they're not shooting
like
it
IV.
They're not like heroin addicts. But I mean, they're like, because there are people that say they'll do that if they can't get anything else. And
you just eat a bag of sugar.
They'll sit down. Well, the lethal dose for sugar is about like 5 pounds. If you sat down and ate a 5-pound bag of sugar, it would kill you. It would literally cause you going to liver failure. So there is like an LD50 on sugar. So it is. Over
what time period?
Just like whatever, maybe a day or something like that. If you just sat down and ate, and some of these people, you see some of these. Have you seen they call them fatfluencers, like these body positive? I mean, it's like influencers, but they're fat, right? And they're literally out there, and the processed food companies actually pay these guys, right?
They do?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. They're getting kickbacks to promote all this unhealthy behavior and unhealthy food, and they're going through what I eat in a day, and it's like everything. It's like Doritos and cookies and Cokes and all the garbage that they're chowing down on, and we got this whole the body positivity movement is being funded by the processed food industry. I mean, if you didn't know that. I mean, it's like they've clearly shown. Directly. They're paying these people to do this. The other thing, processed food companies, they're paying dietitians on social media also to recommend processed foods. So it's just like, it's clearly corrupt. I mean,
it's so dirty. It's such a dirty, but it's like a war against your health. And they're the enemy. They're the propagandists.
Well, and then they want to, you've seen this stuff. Like they come off to you, they say, oh, he's a racist or he's a right-wing fascist or something like it. Because you're like, I don't want to be sick and fat. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's what they come back and say. It's it's like there's some article like, working out is a right-wing conspiracy. Do you see that stuff?
Yes, it's
like crazy.
wild.
Yeah,
It's
'cause-
wild because some people will read that, and people that are like extremely averse as to being labeled right wing,
Yeah.
or being labeled racist or xenophobic or whatever it is, they're terrified of those labels. They don't want that smoke, and so they see these things, and it does affect the way they view the world. As ridiculous as it sounds. And maybe one article won't do it, but if you see enough of them over time, you will associate that activity with some sort of problematic label that could be put on you, which is incredible that we're so easily influenced.